Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Shashank Deep from IIT Delhi. I am Associate Professor at Department of Chemistry of IIT Delhi. Today we are going to talk on module Identical Independent Binding Sites and Sketchart Plot. This is the module from paper Biomolecular Interactions. So, students, let's see what we are going to learn in this module. I will start with introduction and then I will discuss what is the importance of binding and life sciences, then how to calculate binding affinity, and finally how we are going to measure the binding constant from the Sketchart plot. Again, measuring of binding constant will be for different kind of the system. I will start with single binding site and we will show how does a Sketchart plot look like and what kind of information we can get from the Sketchart plot. Then we will go to multiple binding sites. Again, multiple binding sites can be of different type. We will discuss identical independent binding sites in this module, and again we will look at how does a Sketchart plot look like, and finally we can also discuss how binding constant can be measured by other methods. So let's look at what are the applications of protein binding to ligand. As we know that ligand receptor interactions are central to most biological process. You cannot think of a biological process where there is no binding of ligand with protein, no binding of here when I am talking about ligand, ligand can be of different types. Ligand can be a DNA, ligand can be a protein, ligand can be a peptide. It can also be a small molecules like ATP, GTP, saccharides. So most of your biological processes involves protein-ligand interaction. Protein-protein interaction itself is quite important in biological process. For example, protein cytochrome C, cytochrome B5 interacts in several biological processes. In some time, protein-protein interactions are also linked to many disease processes. How does protein-ligand interactions controls a biological process? They can control biological process by regulating the structural transition between different conformations. So, a protein can exist in different conformations. Ligand binding can shift the equilibria towards a particular conformation, and that basically leads to regulation of variety of physiological processes. Protein ligand interaction may also create new binding site for another ligand. For example, in transforming growth factor cascade, receptor 2 binds first with transforming growth factor ligand, and that creates binding site for TBR1, which is receptor 1 to bind. There are other ways in which proteins can regulate, and one of the ways protein may get activated, inactivated or destroyed on interaction with other proteins. Cascade of signal transmission. Most of the signal transmission process starts with ligand receptor interaction. Again, ligand binding can develop highly specific sites with affinity tailored to meet the needs of biological function, and that is basically essential for evolution of protein function. Cooperativity is a well-known phenomenon in ligand binding. It plays very important role in regulation of biological functions. Basics of binding. Any protein ligand binding can be represented as an equilibrium reaction between protein and ligand to form complex. Simple stoichiometry is 1:1, means one protein binds with one ligand to give you one complex molecule. Whenever we consider protein binding reactions or any reactions, we have an equilibrium constant. For this simple reaction, P plus L going to PL, we have equilibrium constant, which is in this case known as binding affinity. Binding affinity is given by PL divided by P into L. So, if higher value of K basically tells you that protein has higher affinity for ligand. If you look at the expression of K, PL has unit of nanomolar, P has unit nanomolar, L again nanomolar. So, your unit of K is going to be nanomolar inverse or millimolar inverse or micromolar inverse. Here we discuss about another constant which is generally used in biochemical studies, that is dissociation constant. This is just opposite of the reaction we just discussed. It is complex going to protein and ligand, and for that equilibrium constant is given by P into L by PL, which is nothing but dissociation constant. That is simply inverse of binding affinity, and thus it is expressed in nanomolar, micromolar, millimolar, and higher affinity means lower Kd. So lower Kd always tells you that protein has higher affinity for ligand. A ligand with nanomolar dissociation constants binds more tightly to a particular protein than a ligand with a micromolar dissociation constant. Okay, so this is the 10 slides where I will give some example of type of interactions. For example, cytochrome C, cytochrome B5, protein ligand, when protein is cytochrome C, ligand is cytochrome B5, that is very weak interaction. When we say a weak interaction, it depends on value of Kd. If Kd is more than 10 micromolar, this is considered as a weak interaction. If you go for second type of example, simple enzyme substrate reaction, its Kd is between 10 micromolar to 100 nanomolar, and that is considered to be a medium kind of interaction. If we go to another example like receptor 2 binding with transforming growth factor ligand, which is beta 3, this reaction is considered to be strong because Kd is between 100 nanomolar to 0.1 nanomolar. We have another kind of example where interaction is very strong, for example in case of antibody antigen. So when antibody reacts with antigen to form complex, Kd is typically less than 0.1 nanomolar, and that is considered to be a very strong interaction. So all interactions can be divided into weak, medium, strong, very strong depending on their Kd value. How we can measure Kd? Kd is generally measured by keeping protein constant and titrating with ligand. So first thing is you take in a cuvette protein solution, titrate with ligand, and somehow measure fraction of protein bound to ligand, and that can be done using different spectroscopic and dialysis, several techniques which we will discuss later. How much protein is bound? That is very important questions to calculate your fraction of bound protein which are related to dissociation constant. The way we do is we use different experimental tools to calculate the amount of protein bound to ligand or amount of ligand bound to protein. First technique, which is based on separation of complexes is gel filtration chromatography. Gel filtration chromatography is technique which is based on size-based separation of the molecule. If the protein complex is big, it can be separated out, and by knowing the concentration of complex, we can know what is the amount of bound protein. There are also techniques which is based on detection of complexes. For example, equilibrium dialysis, fluorescence and NMR. So, by using this technique, equilibrium dialysis and fluorescence, where we look at the signals from fluorophore, and then finally NMR, which looks at the protein-proton, 13C, 15N kind of signals. By comparing that, we can calculate what is the amount of bound protein. Want to calculate Kd. Now question is how to calculate fraction of bound protein from a spectroscopic technique. A spectroscopic technique, generally we can take several different kind of techniques: UV, visible, fluorescence, NMR. So their total signal will come from protein, it can come from ligand, it can come from complex. So if we think that Y is the total signal, so the total signal can be calculated using this equation, which is Yt is equal to Yp multiplied by P plus Yl multiplied by L plus Ypl multiplied by Pl, where bracket P is your total protein concentration at some point, L is your protein concentration at that point, and then PL is protein complex concentration at that point. So signal at some point is equal to signal from per molar free protein multiplied by concentration of free protein plus signal from per molar ligand into concentration of ligand concentration at that point plus signal from per molar bond protein multiplied by concentration of PL. So this is your equation for total signal. Again we go for calculation. How can we calculate the fraction of bond protein? So suppose our signal is from bond protein only or bond ligand only. In that case, Yp is equal to Yl is equal to 0. So since signal is only from PL, and so Yp, Yl is equal to 0. Then total Yt or total Y is given by your signal per bond protein multiplied by concentration of bond protein, that is PL. So Y infinity signal when ligand concentration is in excess is given by YPL into PL max. PL max is your total when total protein has gone to complex, and that is certainly PL max is equal to PT total protein, and thus Y infinity becomes YPL into PT. So fraction of bound protein, which is simply PL by PT, is given by Yt by Y infinity. If suppose signal is from free and bound protein, signal doesn't come from ligand, in that case Yl is equal to 0, and then Y is given by simple Yp into P plus Ypl into PL. And free protein is given by bracket P is given by total protein minus bond protein. So P is equal to Pt minus PL. So we can write signal is equal to Yp multiplied by Pt minus PL plus Ypl into PL. So Y infinity is Ypl into PL max, which is equal to Ypl into Pt, and since Y naught is equal to signal at time 0 is equal to Yp into Pt, so we can simply write Y minus Y naught is equal to PL into Y from PL minus Y from P. Similarly, y infinity minus y naught is equal to given by pt multiplied by signal from PL minus signal from P. So, if we know these two equations, we can calculate fraction of bond protein, and that is nothing but PL by PT, and it is given by the equation y minus y naught divided by y infinity minus y naught. So now we have calculated fraction of bond protein. Now we should know how fraction of bond protein is related to Kd. So we know that fraction of bond protein is simply bond protein divided by total protein, and total protein is nothing but free protein plus bond protein, and so we have fraction of bond protein can be written as bond protein divided by free protein plus bond protein, and that is PL divided by P plus PL. Now how PL is related to Kd can be given here, can be seen here. So we know that fraction of bond protein is PL by P plus PL, and if we consider the equilibrium constant, so Ka was Ka is equal to P into L by PL. So PL is simply equal to Ka into P into L. So we can write fraction of protein bound to ligand as equal to Ka into P into L. So we are basically doing replacing PL by Ka into P into L. So we when we replace PL in numerator and denominator by Ka into P into L, we get nu is equal to Ka P into L divided by Pa plus Ka P into L. P is common, so we can simply cancel it out, and what we are left with is equal to K into L divided by 1 plus K into L. So now fraction of bond protein is related to Ka, which is binding affinity. But generally we know that binding affinity is expressed in terms of Kd, so we can also write this equation just simply K is equal to 1 by Kd. If we put that, we end up with the equation nu is equal to L divided by Kd plus L. So this is an equation which is not linear. The question is how to make it linear. By using that equation nu is equal to L divided by Kd plus L, we can define the dissociation constant. So suppose nu is equal to half, when that will happen. So if we put in this equation nu is equal to L by divided by Kd plus L, if we put nu is equal to half, what we are going to end up is 2L is equal to Kd plus L, and that means L is equal to simply Kd. So this tells you how we can define dissociation constant. Dissociation constant Kd is basically the concentration of ligand which saturates half of the total site on the protein. Means when nu is equal to half, L is equal to Kd. The simple assumption when we try to calculate Kd is P total is quite less than equal to Kd. What does mean is equal to that L is quite excess compared to PL. So L can be taken as equal to L plus PL, and that is simply equal to L total. So what we are seeing here is when our L is in quite excess. That's how we deal with the protein ligand binding. In that case, your nu is simply equal to L total divided by Kd plus L total. So now what we have done is we replaced L by L total, since we assume that ligand is in quite excess. So when we plot fraction of bond protein versus X, we can get a hyperbolic kind of curve. So this is your fraction, and you can see and there is a maxima which comes at around 1. That is when protein is completely bound. When we go to n is equal to 0.5, you can see that the concentration at which n is equal to 0.5 is known as Kd. So, since the equation between fraction of bound protein and ligand was hyperbolic curve, we want to display that in a linear form, and that is known as SK chart plot. The way we can convert this equation into linear form is by using these equations. So, we know that fraction of bound protein is given by your L divided by Kd plus L, or P divided by Kd plus P. So, if you multiply denominator with nu, so nu into L is equal to nu into Kd, and this is simply equal to L. If we divide the whole equation by L into Kd, we get the equation which is a linear equation, and equation is nu by Kd plus nu by L is equal to 1 by Kd. So, when we express nu by L, simply nu by L is given by 1 by Kd minus nu by Kd, and we know that this is an equation of a straight line. It is similar to y is equal to mx plus c, where m is slope, c is your intercept. Here x is nu and y is nu by L. So, if I plot x versus y, which is your nu by L versus nu, you get a straight line with the slope equal to minus 1 by Kd and intercept equal to 1 by Kd. So, by just looking at m and c, we can calculate the value of Kd through this plot. This is well known SK chart plot. It shows you a typical SK chart plot. So, what we plot is nu by L versus nu, and I have discussed that we are going to get, for simple P plus L to PL, we are going to get a straight line whose slope is equal to minus 1 by Kd, where the intercept is equal to 1 by Kd. So, just by looking at the plot, measuring the slope will give you the value of Kd. SK chart plot can be used to know the type of interaction. Generally, plot is linear for a standard 1:1 interaction. And if you don't get a linear curve, that also gives us information. For example, if it is curved, it indicates that more than one class of sites are present. They are not identical sites. Yes, certainly that may also indicate that there is possible problem with the experiment if the interaction is 1:1. Your equilibria can be written as P plus L going to PL and PL plus L giving you PL2. Binding constant for the first equilibria is K1, while binding constant for second equilibria is K2. So, if we have K1 is equal to K2, then we say that binding sites on protein are identical. If binding sites are independent, it means that binding of one ligand doesn't affect the other. So, there are two different terms. One is identical, another is independent. Binding sites are independent means binding affinity is similar for both the sites, while independent means one binding doesn't affect the second bind. So, it must be clear that there are two different terms. One is identical, another is independent. So, here we are going to discuss independent, identical, both. So, binding sites has both this thing, identical, independent. If suppose there are n identical independent sites on the protein for ligand binding. Identical, again I mean that Kd is same for different binding, and independent means one binding doesn't affect the another. In that case, we can simply write P plus L going to PL, PL plus L going to PL2, PL2 plus L going to PL3, and similarly PLN minus 1 plus L going to PLN. And binding constant is going to be similar. So P plus L going to PL has same binding constant compared to PL plus L going to PL2. In that case, we can simply treat each interaction as 1:1 association and add them together for calculating the fraction of bound protein. So in that case, we can simply write a fraction of bound protein is equal to N multiplied by your L divided by Kd plus L. So number of, if mole of ligand bound per molecule of macromolecule be nu, then you can express nu L as NL divided by Kd plus L. This can be simply written like, if we suppose divide numerator and denominator by Kd, we can get nu is equal to NL by Kd 1 plus L divided by Kd. Now we can again express that in form of a Skechard plot. In that case, nu by L is equal to N by Kd minus nu by Kd. As you know that nu by L is equal to N by Kd minus nu by Kd, this is an equation of a straight line. It is a bit different than the equation we have seen for 1:1 stoichiometry. Here slope is equal to minus 1 by Kd. It is similar to what we have seen earlier, but intercept is different. Intercept is N by Kd. So if we plot nu by L by nu, we will get a straight line. Slope is equal to minus 1 by Kd, while intercept is equal to N by Kd. So you can see that when we started with one binding site, we can calculate Kd in that case by using a Skechard plot. Then we went to N identical independent binding site. Here slope is equal to 1 by Kd, intercept is equal to N by Kd. So we can calculate both Kd and N. We can know how many independent binding sites exist on your protein. If suppose we have two classes of independent sites, what does that mean is, one site protein binds or ligand binds to protein on one site with dissociation constant Ka, while another site with dissociation constant Kb. These are independent binding sites. What does that mean is, binding at one site doesn't affect the binding at another site, but Kd is different. In that case, we can simply calculate Kd by these equations. So for example, P plus L, if suppose this gives you Kd is your Ka, while P plus 2L giving you PL2, Kd is equal to Kc. So we can write K is equal to P into L by PAL, Kb is equal to P into L PBL. So Kc will be equal to P into L square by PAB into PABL2. In that case, Kc is equal to simply equal to K into Kb. So for two classes of independent sites, we can calculate fraction of bound protein using these equations. So fraction of bound protein is simply written as PAL plus PBL plus twice of PABL2 divided by total protein concentration, which is free protein plus protein bound at A site plus protein bound at B site, and when both the sites are occupied. So nu is equal to, since PAL can be expressed as P into L by K, PBL can be expressed as P into L by Kb, while PaBl2 can be expressed as P into L divided by K into Kb. We can express fraction of bound protein as P into L divided by K plus P into L divided by Kb plus 2 into P into L divided by K into Kb. And then we can simply divide it by total protein concentration, which is simply P plus P into L divided by K plus P into L divided by Kb plus P into L divided by Ka into. Since P is common in numerator and denominator, that can be cancelled out, and we are left with nu is equal to L by K plus L by Kb plus 2L divided by K into Kb divided by 1 plus L divided by K plus L by Kb plus L by K into Kb. Simple simplifications gives you nu is equal to L by K divided by 1 plus L by K plus L by Kb divided by 1 plus L by Kb. So you can see there are two, in right hand side there are two equations, simple equations, and nu is equal to sum of these two equations, and that is nothing different from when we have taken one side. So here there are two sides, and so there are two terms on the right hand side, and that's how you can calculate your fraction of bound protein. Two classes of independent binding site. If suppose we plot nu by L versus nu, what kind of graph we can get? In this case, we are not going to get a straight line, we will get a curved line. And so, if on plotting sketchart plot, we don't get a straight line, it means that there is a possibility that we have two classes of independent binding site. In this case, your intercept will be equal to simply N1 plus N2, where N1 is the number of ligand which can bind to site 1, and to a number of ligand which can bind to site 2. And your intercept is your N1 by K1 plus N2 by K2. And this is a simple equation, nu by L is equal to, given by two terms, sum of two different terms. First is for site 1 and the second is for the site 2. There are other methods to calculate Kd, and that is by solving simple non-linear equations. And the way we can get it is by using these equations. Kd is equal to P into L by PL, and so P into L minus Kd into PL is equal to 0. Free protein is equal to total protein minus bound protein, so P is equal to Pt minus PL. So just replacing P by Pt minus PL, we get equation Pt minus PL into Lt minus PL minus Kd into PL is equal to 0. If we just simplify it, what we are going to get is PL square minus Pt plus Lt plus Kd multiplied by PL plus Pt into Lt is equal to 0. This is the second order equations, and so we can get a root by solving it through equation. PL is equal to minus B plus minus B under root B square minus 4 Pt into Lt by 2. So this is simple, that x is equal to minus B plus minus under root B square minus 4AC by 2. Just using this equation we can calculate PL, where B is equal to minus Pt plus Lt plus Kd. We can discuss several different cases, where case 1 is when the signal is only from the complex. In that case we can simply write PL by Pt is equal to Yt by Y infinity, and PL is simply given by Yt by Y infinity into Pt. Now we can put the value of PL in that equation, and nonlinear fitting of this equation gives the value of Kd. When the signal is from protein and protein complex, in that case we have already shown that PL by Pt
is equal to y minus y naught divided by y infinity minus y naught. So PL can be calculated from the spectroscopic signal, and the equation is PL is simply y minus y naught by y infinity minus y naught into PT, and that can be used to calculate the binding constant, and that has been done when Kd was calculated for cytochrome C, cytochrome B5 system from chemical shift perturbation measured using NMR. Binding constant can also be calculated by using fluorescence quenching data analysis. In that case, we can use Stern-Volmer constant, where the equation is F naught by F is equal to 1 plus Ksv into Q, where Ksv is equal to Kd in case of quenching only being static. So just by measuring quenching of fluorescence in presence of ligand, we can measure Kd if the quenching is static. Again, this is about calculation of binding constant from fluorescence quenching data analysis. If Stern-Volmer equation is used for more than one ligand binding to protein, in that case we can simply use log F naught minus F by F is equal to log Kd plus n log Q. So this is the way to calculate your binding constant. So in this chapter we have discussed several ways to calculate binding constants.
So students, let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. First, protein ligand binding plays an important role in biological processes. Generally, we define protein ligand interaction in terms of binding association or dissociation constant, which is Kd. If we measure fraction of bound protein, we can relate that to Kd, and by measuring Kd, we can know what is the strength of the interaction. The way we can calculate fraction of bound protein is by using gel chromatography, equilibrium dialysis, and spectroscopic technique. The slope and intercept of SK chart plot is related to Kd and the number of binding sites. There are other equations which also relate to the concentration of bound protein to Kd. And finally, measurement of Stern-Volmer quenching constant can also throw light on the Kd.